I've been meaning to post on this channel for a while, and I've had a lot of apprehension around it because I feel like it's very difficult to kind of capture progress that we experience when it's so undulating and the revelations come in such bits and pieces. I definitely believe that you can change overnight. I definitely do. I think that it's very difficult to do that when you are, what's the word? I think it's difficult to change all at once when a lot of things stay the same. So by that, I mean, it's so much easier to kind of like change your whole life when you're in an entirely different environment, around different people, you're wearing different clothes. Like, that's just kind of common sense. And I definitely, this time round, I profess to have wanted to change my life multiple times. And this time around, I'm just like, there's no way kind of to go around it. You just have to go through. So this is me going through. And I wanted to talk today about this book that I've been reading. Oh, it's backwards. It's called The Practice. And it's by Seth Godin. I don't know what possessed me to pick this up from the bookshelf the other day, but the first line of this book is like, genuinely felt like it was made for me. And the irony was, I'm pretty sure my husband bought it for him, and he read it and he was like, this is just like not slapping for me at all. And I read it and I was like, oh my God, this was written directly for me by this person. And the first line kind of had me hooked because it was, let me grab it. This book is for people who want to lead, to write, and to sing. And I want to do all those things. But seriously, the first chapter of this book, I almost want to do just like a little mini book club, because I understand that it is so difficult to sit down and to read. There are so many things in my life that have to be going well for me to feel like I'm capable of reading. So I will read one book a year if I'm lucky, and I will start multiple. So I'm going to hopefully finish this book. No, I will finish this book, because part of my new little who am I is that I finish things. So I will finish this book. But I wanted to just like highlight a couple of different things, kind of like a book club, and like talk through them. So I'm just trying to think if I can move anyway. Okay, I'm back. I'm back in my house. Right, so first chapter is called Trust Yourself. One thing that I've been really aware of is that I have trouble finishing things. I think this is very common for a lot of creatives, is that we have abundance of ideas, but like completing things and finishing things is really difficult. And again, that was why I was like, maybe this book might have some wisdom, because he's talking exactly to people like me who really struggle to do that. Because the creative process, for the most part, it feels very intuitive and it feels very impulsive. It feels, just like very human. And so to sit there and think like you have control over that, or you can decide when you're creative, is like kind of a foreign concept to that. It's difficult. So let's do it. Okay, so firstly, one of the things that really stuck with me, and I thought it was like interesting that it was even here, is that he spoke about how in the Turkish community, I think it's called, what is it called? An ancient Turkish tradition. When buying a loaf at the local bakery, you choose to pay for an extra loaf, and after bagging your purchase, the owner will hang the second loaf on a hook on the wall. If a person in need comes by, he or she can ask if there's anything on the hook. If so, the bread is shared and the hunger is relieved. Perhaps as important, community is built. In the Western society, this concept is definitely undercooked. We don't do much of this kind of thing unless it's kind of interwoven into some kind of non-for-profit organization. But he made the point of, when you choose to produce creative works, you're solving a problem.
not just for you, but for those who encounter what you've made. By putting yourself on the hook, you're performing a generous act. And here comes in the first concept of the fact that this creative process and the things that you create is supposed to be generous. It's for other people. And essentially throughout this whole chapter, he makes like these really, the main points that I don't know how many there were, maybe 3. 3 main points that it's creating something, it's not about you. It's in of service for others. It's solving a problem for others. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that it's all about creating change. And he highlighted this point of if there's no change, then it's not art. So if a person doesn't change after kind of interacting with your creation, then it's not art. And I thought that was really, really interesting. Because again, I've always had this underlying feeling of like needing to create change. And so for him to kind of be like, no, that's like an innate part of what a creative, bringing a creation into life is to create change. I thought that was really interesting. He talks about a lot, this whole book is to do with finding a practice. And he highlights something that's really, really interesting. He highlights some surprising truths that have been hidden by our desire for those perfect outcomes, the ones industrial recipes promise but never quite deliver. And so this is kind of going to feel a bit counterintuitive because the chances are you've absorbed this narrative as I have. So here are some things that he says, which are really interesting. A good process can lead to good outcomes, but it doesn't guarantee them. Interesting. Perfectionism has nothing to do with being perfect. Yeah, I know, the irony. I hated that when I found that out. I was like, great, I've got perfectionism and I'm not even perfect. At least let me be perfect and suffer. Attitudes are skills. Attitudes are skills. Wow, isn't that so empowering? That attitudes are entirely in your control and it's a skill, which means that you build it up. It's not something that you're just like going to be amazing at all of the time. You might have a predisposition to it, like you would say, you know, a talent towards it, but it's a skill, which is really interesting language. There is no such thing as writer's block. Interesting. Very interesting. Professionals produce with intent. Could have guessed that. Creativity is an act of leadership. Creativity is an act of leadership, and leaders are imposters. Good taste is a skill, also interesting. And my favorite, passion is a choice. Now, all of those, I feel like at this point, I still don't entirely understand. Like, I'm like, yes, I agree with that, but I reckon there could be definitely some arguments about it. All right, another great point that I loved. You choose to find your voice or you can continue to ignore it. This section, fire, I have been really, really struggling with the feeling that I haven't quite specialized in something. And again, like I said at the start, it's been this ongoing thing of like, what do I actually like? Like, I'm confused. I know what I like, but it's like they all seem kind of not together. And I think a lot of people, again, like I said, this kind of person struggles to like connect the dots between all these parts of themselves that can coexist at once. And so this, I feel like, sums it up so well. The highest attainment of specialization is making the world a better place through art. And again, it's just highlighting that point of like, it's not about you. It's not about you. You releasing the song, you writing the song. It's not about the accolades, and it's not about, you know, being told that you're talented or not being told that you're talented or being told that it's good. It's about what that creation does to another person. And by you not putting it out, it's actually compromising a person's ability to feel a sense of change by your art. And it's not really up to you whether or not it changes that person. And that's kind of like the God particle of it all. Create stuff. Okay, this is again, just reiterating a point, like straight after that. Create something new that changes someone. So no change, no art. Love it. Redefining the criteria to what it is to be a creative person. Stunning. Okay, what else have I got? Some other amazing points that I found in this chapter about trusting yourself is waiting for a feeling is a luxury we don't have time for. We don't have time for the impulse to create the feeling, You have to show up and write every day, whether or not you feel like it or not. You have to run every day, you feel like it or not. This is how athletes train. They train whether or not they feel like it. And with creativity, again, because it's such this like impulsive human raw experience, and although you can have those impulses, it's up to you to get into the flow. It's up to you to start. A really good book for this is called The Artist's Way. And she talks about doing writing 3 pages at the start of every day to kind of like get your creative juices flowing. It does work. It's very good. And talking about action, if you want to change your story, you change your actions first. We become what we do. Amen. Finding your passion. This one was amazing. Once you decide to trust yourself, you will have found your passion. Once you have decided to trust yourself, you will have found your passion. Our passion is simply the work we trusted ourselves to do. That is so good. And I reckon, it made me stop and think, maybe the only real friction here is that you just disregard and you don't trust yourself to do the thing that you should be doing. And I've had this internal battle, and it can't coexist with having self-doubt or thinking it's all about you, because the chances are, if you start getting into this cycle of feeling like you can't do it, you don't trust yourself to do it, and you have a self-belief problem, you're thinking too much about yourself, back to the original point of it not being about you. Put yourselves on the hook and find the contribution you're capable of. Put yourselves on the hook. Imposter syndrome. And how to trust yourself despite having imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is a sign that you're healthy and that you're doing important work. Confidence isn't the same as trust in the process. Confidence is a feeling we get when we imagine that we have control over the outcome. Confidence is a feeling we get when we have control over the outcome. So when we feel imposter syndrome, it's most likely because we've not been exposed enough for us to feel like we have control over the outcome. When we constantly expose ourselves to something, we have a data bank of something that tells us that what we can expect, we know what the outcome is going to be, and therefore the imposter syndrome subsides, and our identity is kind of morphed into this, like our actions have proven to us XYZ, that I am a runner because I run every day, and therefore I don't have imposter syndrome over running because I do it all the time. So it's really just an action problem. It's like not really that deep in a way. Like he writes here, right is right, run is run. Establish your identity by doing the work. If you get in your head about doing the work, it's not about you. It's about contributing to society. And finding trust in yourself is just like continuing to show up whether or not you want to do it. And then it's this idea of the passion. The passion is just what you tell yourself, like you've entrusted. The passion comes from trusting yourself to do the work that you know you need to do. It's like not really that complicated. Trust earns your patience, because once you trust yourself, you can stick with a practice that most people can't handle. And the practice is available for us all. So it's so simple, right? It's so simple. And I just appreciated how simple it was. And then I think it gets so confusing to unpack this level of emotion of like, the impulse to do something, but getting in your way. It's like you're getting in your way because you're thinking so much about yourself. Honestly, like I get it, especially in this day and age where so much is like, we can't hide. In a way, it's like if you want to put yourself out there, you're putting yourself out there online, available for criticism, XYZ. And so it can feel personal. But the reality is, I remember this moment about 2 months ago, and I realized that I was willing to look the fool for something, because they said, what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to look the fool for? Sorry, what are you willing to sacrifice for success. And I was like, I'm willing to look foolish for someone else's breakthrough. So if I look cringe to one other person, but whatever I says changes another person's life, because that's the world we live in, then I was like, that's something I can live with. And that's why you continue to create art, because you don't know what your art is going to do for another person. And it's not for you to decide, but it is for you to show up with a generous heart, with a sense of serving others and not yourself. And I'm preaching to myself. Here, because it can feel so personal. And sometimes the stuff that we create can literally feel like it is an extension of us. But yeah, it shouldn't be. I don't think it's a good enough reason for you not to do it. We must be generous. So this is my first chapter, and I will, the next chapter is actually on generosity. That one was more on trusting yourself. So yeah, trusting yourself just comes from repeating an action and showing up. Anyway, love it. I hope this has been cohesive. All right. Have a fabulous, fabulous day. Thank you for listening. I hope you found some kind of golden nugget. I'm about to go to my class and I'm really late, so I must go. Or I've got 10 minutes.